And joining us right now on the Rothaman Orthopedic Guest Line, my older radio buddy.
Hey.
John Barchard, ladies and gentlemen. Check out all the great stuff that he's doing right now. Look at this. Look at this man right here. Bell and the Birdman podcast, Last Out Media. This man creates podcasts. This man creates content. This guy helps other people create their own content. You're doing it all. And most impressive, you're clean shaven now. What the hell happened?
Well, a little bit. I mean, I had You're So Beautiful in the beard. I felt weird just coming on here. I was like, should I shave? No, we need to be the two bearded guys. Mark, it's great to see you. By the way, still waiting for a show in a canoe. That was one of the best shows I think you've ever done. And like, I'm serious. Like, trust me, the audience members, don't you want to see Mark in a canoe again talking about Philadelphia sports? I do.
We briefly, and I appreciate that, we briefly did that when I was out in Colorado again for my wife's family reunion. I was in a kayak on my uncle-in-law's lake.
Nice. Okay.
Because he has a lake. He's doing well in life. He has a lake.
Well, when you have an uncle-in-law, yes. Yeah, I feel like I should be doing pretty well.
And he looks like Teddy Roosevelt. That's the most fun fact about him. But anyway, so I did that. But I want to let people know, because I did that show. That was like my first remote show. And quite frankly, my only so far. But I did that show, and I hung up the phone to end the show because I was doing the whole thing on my iPhone. And I cast another reel, right? And boom, right away, call from John Barchard. Voice text, which I really appreciate, by the way. People that just leave a voicemail, you're wasting everyone's time.
Yeah.
But you send the voice text, and it's like the most complimentary, kind, you're the man, and I can't thank you enough for that. John literally it sent me that the second we hung up with the show.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love that. Yeah, Farzy in the world. Like you've done all that stuff already. I was like, that's a perfect spot for you. This is great.
Yeah, my listeners started calling it, and viewers started calling it Fishing with Farzy.
Fishing with Farzy, yes. I love it. I would 5 days a week. Sign me up for it. I'm in.
We'll get it sponsored by Bass Pro Shops
and your uncle-in-law. Yeah, whatever it is.
And the Teddy Roosevelt lookalike. John, are we going to the playoffs? The Eagles going to the playoffs. Is that going to happen? Are we going to get involved there in that little postseason thing going on?
Hell yeah, they are. Want to know why? Washington's soft tanking. So, of course they're getting into the playoffs. I feel, don't you feel like no matter what, though, Washington could have Russell Wilson out there or Tom Brady or whatever it is, or the worst quarterback on earth, which I think, they have a collection of those going as well. But you're going to shoot themselves in the Washington is going to kind of like a game. They'll escape in the fourth quarter. They need a quarterback and a whole bunch of other help. I mean, they're like 8th or 9th, I think, in the drafting order right now. Why on earth would you win this game? There's no reason to. There's 12 other hungry quarterback teams behind you that desperately want to get ahead of you. So call me crazy, and they owe the Philadelphia Eagles one anyway, but they should slide right into, losing and make Joe Judge upset again and let Jalen Hurts just take care of his first playoff experience. But either way, even if they're not doing that, I just feel like you're not going to be able to stop this semi-momentum that the Eagles have here. So I feel pretty confident about Sunday.
Oh, I love that. My only reservation is that they just got blown out. They got the shot of them fighting on the sidelines, Jonathan Taylor and all that stuff. Like, things are so bad right now with Washington. I always think of the Andy Reid line. You're never as good as you think. You're never as bad as you think. And are the Washington football players, are they it's the first time I ever referred to them as that.
Yeah.
It's the way the sentence went. But are they really that bad?
They never really are. I guess that's kind of what they have always been. This muck of talent that can never really fly straight or never have any kind of chemistry. Nothing like that. I mean, Payne and Allen fighting on the sideline. I know everybody's going like, "Oh wow, well they'll turn that around next week." Why? They hate each other. They want to be done with all this stuff. They just got most of their roster back, and they're not really fighting for much of anything. And I know everybody's going, well, the Vikings just have to lose, and their playoff hopes aren't really that far-fetched either because they're in the middle of this. But, man, I think that's more of a white flag, we're done, as opposed to we got to turn this thing around, and we're going to fight for one another next week. And 56-7, blah blah blah, and all the. I just don't see that. I know that's been a very popular popular phrase, but I don't see it at all. This team's ready to be done, and I'm ready to send them home to do so. Yeah,
I'm buying. I'm buying what you're selling, my friend. I'm buying what you're selling. If you could you take me through your evolution of your evaluation of Nick Sirianni from introductory press conference to right now?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of going, well, here's another press conference that everyone's getting up in arms about, and that seems about on par and fair, by the way, because it's part of the job. So everybody gets called a boomer for making fun of the guy at the press conference. That's command the room, So we're a little hesitant and shaky to begin with anyway. I kind of did it the same way as Doug Peterson. I didn't have too many opinions on him coming in either. Did I call for his job in the middle of the season? Yes, I did. Absolutely, I did. But that was before I knew that Shane Steichen's the one that's actually, calling the plays here. So we've moved on to him. I'm on the big fire him and get Joe Brady in here campaign. And I kind of like how the Eagles have done this, to be honest with you. Like, I understand Nick Sirianni's value completely. He's managing the game. Can you remember a time where Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman have agreed on, let's hire a coach that doesn't have a thing, like an offense, Chip Kelly did this, Andy Reid did this. Nick Sirianni is just a guy who's doing Mike McCarthy's job, who's managing all the talent that he hired, which I'm going, wow, that's fascinating. So at the end of the day, I don't know what Nick Sirianni is. I don't know what he does, and I'm not sure which directions he pushes and pulls. To me, honestly, this is a combination of Shane Steichen and Jeff Stoutland doing their jobs. Shane Steichen was very run heavy in LA and everywhere he's kind of gone, so I get it. But my biggest questions out of this to you, Mark, are why aren't we giving the same credit to Jonathan Gannon? Because he's doing the exact same thing that Nick Sirianni is, playing bad teams, doing their job, and listening to their players essentially. So I think they've done just fine, but I'm not juiced up as everybody else is. I don't think. What about you?
About Nick Sirianni himself?
Yeah, about either coordinator. Yeah, either guy.
Well, see, here's why I would be more juiced up, love the term, about Nick Sirianni as opposed to Jonathan Gannon. I see Jonathan Gannon really doing the same stuff. I mean, I've seen a little bit more aggression really since, I think it was the it was the LA Chargers game where they blitzed more than they had all season long. They didn't get home, but they blitzed more than they ever did all season. They've been doing a little bit more of that. You saw that again this past week against the Giants. But in that game one against the Giants, Daniel Jones, they barely were aggressive, and Daniel Jones is certainly a guy you could force into mistakes. But the greatest glaring adjustment I've seen is going to the run game. I mean, let's not forget, you had we were just talking about this the other day. We had 2 run plays to a running back. We watched that happen with the Eagles against the Cowboys in week 3. So you handed the ball to a running back twice. Even Andy Reid was like, I think you should run the ball.
Yeah, that's a little light.
Yeah, it's a little light. And since then, they've been one of the best teams in football. Not since the Dallas game, but over the last 8 weeks when they really committed to the run. They're 6-2 in their last 8 games all of a sudden. So once they change that, go from 2-5 to 6-2, they have seemed like a different team, and I think that goes mostly as to why I'd be juiced up about Nick Sirianni going forward.
Well, and I respect that completely, but at the same time, how hard is that? How hard is it to look at this offense and be like, well, the quarterback can't throw so well right now. Don't have that great wide receiver options. Dallas Goedert somehow drops balls in the first quarter and forces weird turnovers. Hey, Jeff Stoutland's our most experienced guy here. Offensive line's the best part of it. Okay, let's run the football. Going, of course. And it's working against bad teams. The defense is playing against, really bad quarterbacks, including 3-headed monsters like Mike Glennon, Jake Fromm, and Daniel Jones from back-to-back weeks. And by the way, they ended up losing one of those. But I don't know. I just think it's Nick Sirianni has the younger guys, so you're going to hear more positive stuff about it. And Jonathan Gannon, who's got to deal with Fletcher Cox literally saying, trade me or him. And the rest of there is no young player on the defense. It's all veterans, right? Except for Milton Williams and maybe the linebackers. So
yeah, right.
I don't know. In a playoff run and getting juiced up, consider me still very skeptical of the one Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon. I'd like to see more in how they process through the next few games here. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. What about your evolution of evaluation when it comes to Jalen Hurts? The hot button issue. The hot button issue of the season.
I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I feel like I'm the original Jalen Hurts fan in the city of Philadelphia. Now, Now, there might have been the 4-hour freak out that everyone experienced when he was drafted, but past that, I've been Jalen Hurts' #1 fan, even when Carson Wentz was doing the "how could you do this to me" routine, which is hilarious in retrospect now. But I've been fighting with my good friend Vince Quinn for a very long time because he wants Russell Wilson in here so badly, and I get it. And I won't be upset if Russell Wilson's here. We shouldn't be. But Jalen Hurts is going to get there, and he's already proven that. But to me, this guy you can't bet against. He's every time that you say, well, he's not going to do this, a couple of games later, he's got it. Well, he's not going to sit in the pocket a little better. His pocket presence isn't, his footwork can't improve. Oh, wow. Okay. Maybe the ankle was that bad, and so on and so forth. I mean, the teammates love him. When Lane Johnson loves somebody, don't let them go. That's my rule. And if that's okay with Lane and the rest of the offensive line and they want to go to war with him and you feel as though you can keep developing that passing game, I'm in love with Jalen Hurts. I don't want him to go anywhere. And even if Russell's here, even if they do go that route, you cannot trade him. You have to keep him here. I mean, like, the same thing with, in a smaller scale, the same reason why you have Gardner Minshew here under $1 million in a 6th-round pick. Keep developing. The NFL constantly is throwing these people out. Stop doing that. Unless you're getting riches and spoils back, Jalen Hurts can win you a Super Bowl. And that's not a mistake. That's not a misquote. He can win you a Super Bowl. You've just got to allow him to grow and do those things. I believe he could probably put them there in a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it is. That's how dedicated he is to being better all of the time. Up here, and don't you agree that between the pressure cooker of everyone talking about him and this, he is just, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And hasn't phased him once, at least not in public form. So that's good enough for me.
No, I love everything you're saying. I agree with everything you're saying. The Super Bowl, do I think he could? Hey, he's off to a great start as far as I'm concerned. He's got this team in playoff contention, playoff positioning right now. Mm-hmm. He's in Pro Bowl consideration as a first-year starter. That's not a bad couple of boxes to check. And yes, I am rooting so hard for him to be that guy because he is there at everything else between the ears. Even with the Sean Watson stuff going on, all he says is he's above it all. He meets with Jeff Stoutland. He meets with Jason Kelsey. He's trying to glom information from everybody, which is why I like this guy so much, and obviously his work ethic. So, yeah, I'm there. I hope he is that guy. I know you're a man for all season, so I want to ask you one more thing. Ben Simmons, what are we getting? And when are we getting it? You got the answers.
They're under this table. You know what it says? Pain. And wait it out. And listen, there is, if I may shout out somebody that I dearly love, shout out the You Know Ball podcast, the good friend Trill Bro Dude, who has been saying and floating out soft tank for a long time there as well. And like, it's kind of the perfect time to do it. Everyone kind of forgets again. Then you can really resell Ben Simmons. I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to pass off this entire year if that means that you can kind of recoup, though. But as I say that, I feel terrible for Joel Embiid even thinking that way. Congratulations, Sam Hinkie. You're still in my brain always. Thank you. You need to get that man somewhere close to past the second round, though. Like,
all right.
I don't know. What do you think's going to happen? I'm in for the long haul.
Yeah, I am almost as dug in as Daryl Morey, who I do legit think would wait 4 years just to mess with Ben Simmons. But I'm not far off. And by the way, I do want to say I love the idea of soft tank. It's like tanking, but just apps. You know what I mean? It's just appetizers, the little light on the bar. I love it.
Yeah, it's just poppers. It's no big deal. It's not. Don't get carried away, It's not a charcuterie board for Christ's sake. It's just
poppers and mott sticks. You, my friend, I am so happy for you because it was 2.5 years ago that I became a father. You became a father. Congratulations to you. It's the greatest. I like to say it's the most fun you'll ever have. The most joy you'll ever experience while having zero fun.
Yes, yeah, that is exactly what's going on right now because my brain is mush And it is evident because I thought Nate Sudfeld was on the Washington football team. You know, it's just like the baby brain is in full effect, and I love it. And I'm just sitting in this is the first time that I'm experiencing literally little to no sleep at any point in time, and my brain like a dragon pops out and then it goes away. I'm like, oh, that's just the milk, whoops, so it's we're in that mode, and I couldn't be happier because she's just about to crawl. She's starting to say words. She really is a perfect baby. Like she just is like, I'm ready to sleep now. Bang, she's out. She doesn't complain much, and her mother is incredible. So we're all good here, man. And being a father rocks, doesn't it? It really does. It's really great. Yeah.
My daughter talks a little too much politics, so she's not perfect, but she's close. No, it's the greatest thing. And last question I have to ask you: have you ever driven back from Pittsburgh in under 3.5 hours?
Listen, you little son of a bitch. I still don't believe you. This man says he can drive from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh in under 4 hours.
I showed you
and
the
it is not. How fast do you drive?
I tickle 90. And I hug the turns. I told you it's all about hugging the turns in the middle of the night.
That means 105, so now I get it. Like you don't want people trailing you, so that makes sense. But my God, hat tip to you, because the ball doesn't lie. It like he showed me that, and I just couldn't. I'd go as a man who traveled back and forth to Pittsburgh way too much. By the way, I could never get a 4:05 was like my best time. I thought, man, there's no way.
Bro, toe to toe. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is John Barchard. Make sure you check out all the content this man creates. Everything he does is fantastic. Bell and the Birdman podcast, Last Out Media. If you're looking to start a podcast yourself, this is a great guy to talk to, because I believe he says, yes, you should start a podcast. That's the answer. It's right there.
Yes, always, especially if you're a business. And like, by the way, dude, I'm so happy you're doing the things you're doing. Like the independent creators, where we are now, and like just reading the room and going, yeah, we can just do this because we're all television and radio now. This is like everyone's waking up to it, and businesses, good Lord, please get into the game too, because they're not helping you anymore. Like, create content for yourself, sponsor yourself, and create content. Come see me if you don't do that. And Mark, just awesome, man. Keep doing this. The studio looks better and better too. So
thank you. This is totally real brick. I did the mortar myself. John, great catching up, brother. Thanks so much, and congratulations to you, not just being a father, but your professional success as well, my friend. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Go Birds.
Go Birds. The great John Barchard joining us here on the Rothaman Orthopedic Guest Line.